The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you're feeling like you're stuck at a plateau and you're just not getting any better, then just try and change who you are. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to go through everything that I'm currently doing to fight against MS from a natural perspective, because I've had a lot of questions asking exactly what it is that I do, and so I thought I'd go through with you in this video because over the last year it's helped me to stay relapse free. I've only just started taking Ocrevus about a month ago, and so that's 100% drug free, and it's amazing that I've managed to stay relapse free. Now obviously there's a chance that maybe I would have been relapse free anyway over the past year, but I definitely think that the changes that I've made have positively impacted me and my fighting against this disease, and so hopefully some of these things in here might be things that you could research further and think about implementing into your daily routine. So let's get straight into it. Before I do that though, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos about my journey with MS.
I used to like seeing you in town. Now it's strange when you're not around. I used to like seeing you in town. Now it's strange when you're not around.
So I really think with MS, it's kind of like a constant battle between the inflammatory side of your body and your immune system, and then the anti-inflammatory side. And so you've got to try and put as many anti-inflammatory effects on your body that you can possibly to counteract that inflammatory side that's causing all the damage to the nerve tissue and to the myelin as well. And so that's kind of what all these things that I'm going to note here are doing at the end of the day. It's that the end goal is that exact battle, just to tip the seesaw in the favour of anti-inflammatory and not in the favour of inflammatory. And so that's what I think overall is where you can win the battle against MS. If you're constantly in the anti-inflammatory end, you'll keep the disease at bay and you won't have severe relapses, you won't have too much damage that'll lead to too much progression. So when I first realised that I had MS last January now, the first thing that I did was quickly looked around. Well, I first just wallowed and was a bit sad and upset for a little while, but then I started looking into what I can be doing, what has been shown that can benefit with people with MS, and what can keep you relapse free and stop the progression of the disease, etc. And so one of the main things that I first came up with was diet. And that's something that I'm a massive advocate for in the fight against MS. Now I've looked into all the different research, and there's so much evidence across the board that diet plays a massive role in the disease progression and also just how it affects you in your day-to-day life. So I researched all the different diets, and there's quite a few different ones, but I adopted the best bet diet, and I adopted that now, so it must have been last February. I've been on it for well over a year now. I do think that that's one of the biggest changes that I've made that I definitely think has a massive positive impact. Now it's not easy to do this diet. You may have researched it before. You have to cut out things like dairy, gluten, legumes, soy, and you have to limit things like sugar, alcohol, all the fun stuff basically. But you soon get used to it, and from the science that I've read, and that was what really got me, was when I looked into the science behind it and I saw the mechanisms at play and I saw the evidence for, what's really causing MS in the first place, and the fact that it's most likely down to a leaky gut, and then you're getting chemicals spilling out into your bloodstream, and then your body is essentially attacking those things and then accidentally attacks your myelin. And so that's kind of the science behind it in a nutshell. But once I got my head around that, I was definitely 100% set. I've been really strict on the diet ever since. So I haven't had any gluten or any dairy that I'm aware of anyway, if I've been poisoned or whatever, since that day that I started the diet. And, I feel a lot healthier in myself as well, which is another major benefit that's happened from that. And so I definitely think that was one of the big things that I did straight away that really kind of turned the tides in my fight against this disease. If you're on any MS specific diets, then please do let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to find out what you're on and how it's impacted your life and your MS as well. The next big thing that I've changed about my life is stress. And so stress is something that I've always had kind of a bad relationship with. I'm one of those people that stresses about things like with work and just life in general, and I kind of keep it all bottled in, and I just overthink, and it gets worse and worse, and I don't really let it out. People don't really think I'm stressed, but I'm actually really quite stressed. Ever since my diagnosis, I read that stress was a major factor, and so that's something that I've really had to look at. And ever since then, I've changed jobs. I try and do a lot of different things that I'm going to go into later in this video to manage stress further as well. but I'm just really careful of it and really wary of my stress levels. And if I do feel like I'm getting stressed out, then I'll try and do something that'll, you know, let me unwind and relax. Maybe it's just a night in where I just need to just do nothing, just chill out and relax. Or maybe it's go for a walk or something like that. But I've got a much better relationship with stress now than I did back at my first diagnosis. The next major thing that I focus on is exercise. Now, this is something that luckily I've always exercised throughout my life, and so it kind of comes naturally to me. But I definitely think that exercise and weight training specifically, from the research that I've looked into, can be a massive beneficiary for someone with MS, because not only does it just keep you healthier in general, but it builds up your strength so that your body's as strong as it can possibly be if you do get an MS relapse. Certain hormones that are released during the muscle building process that can also potentially lead to rebuilding of myelin, essentially gets your body in an attacking phase, because it's called a process called hormesis, which I'll go into a little bit later as well. But if you can put your body under hormetic stress, it's essentially putting your body under physical stress and not the mental kind of stress that I talked about earlier, forcing your body to adapt and become stronger. And so all these different stresses that you can put on the body to make it stronger are likely going to make it a lot stronger at the cell level, so the mitochondria are going to be a lot stronger and the immune system's going to have to tune itself up as well. All those different things that you can do are really beneficial. I definitely think that exercise and weight training is something you should definitely focus and add into your routine if possible. Now, I know as well that some people will really struggle with exercise because maybe their MS has affected them so much that they really struggle. I think in that case, you've just got to slowly build it up over time, but don't give up. Don't just think, oh, I'm never going to be able to exercise again. Don't have that mental attitude, because you can and you will if you put your mind to it and you take one step at a time. You've just got to keep plugging away and keep trying to retrain your body to push it as hard as it can. And if you can push it out of its comfort zone, then it will respond. And hopefully that'll give a positive effect on the rest of your MS outcome as well. Another thing that I do every day that links back to stress, and that is meditation. I try and meditate now every single day. I do it just before I go to bed because it really helps me to fall asleep, because I'm the kind of person, I've always struggled to fall asleep. I've got a really busy mind, I just overthink all the time. So I found meditating just before bed really helps me sleep. And what it also does is it just completely calms my whole body down, and I feel like the pressure inside my body is just slowly dropping as I do this. And I actually do, sometimes I'll do pure meditation, and then sometimes I also do Wim Hof style breathing exercises. And if you haven't heard of that before, I'll leave a link in the description, but that's a really interesting breathing exercise, and it's all about focusing on the breath and just connecting with your body, and just don't be worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, what happened yesterday. Just live right here in the present, right here, right now. There's so many benefits associated with meditation, and so I definitely would recommend you adding that into your daily routine as well. So another form of hormetic stress that I put my body under to allow it to adapt and to get stronger is I take a hot sauna every other day. There's so many benefits of hot saunas, again, like I've just said. I won't go into them all now, but for starters, there's anti-inflammatory benefits. When your body goes in there, it releases things like heat shock proteins that help regenerate some of the muscle tissue and some of the body tissue as well. So there's so many benefits to be had there in terms of cardiovascular strength. Sauna is definitely something that I'd advise adding into your routine if you've got access to one, or if not, just, maybe have a really hot bath or something. Another thing that I do every day is I do intermittent fasting. I don't start consuming calories until about 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So I go the whole morning, I just have a cup of tea, and then I go to the gym. So I work out on an empty stomach, which you get used to and you just adapt to it. And then I break fast at about 1 or 2 o'clock, like I say, and then I stop eating again at about somewhere between 8 and half 8. So I've got an eating window between sort of 7 and 8 hours, give or take. There's so many benefits, again, that I explained actually in my last video of fasting, in terms of the anti-inflammatory benefits, in terms of fat adaptation and being able to utilize ketones as your body's energy reserve. So this is something that you should definitely look into, and it'll help you lose weight as well. So if you do struggle with weight, then this could be a massive benefit as well, which is obviously just going to improve your overall health, which will improve your body's ability to be able to fight against this disease as well. Now, I know that I mentioned Wim Hof earlier, and another thing that he's a big advocate for is cold exposure. And so this is something else that I do as well, or I try to as much as I can, by having either a cold shower or a cold bath or something like that. And there are so many benefits of having a cold shower as well, because it's got, once again, anti-inflammatory benefits to it, but it also, just how Wim Hof describes it, as it just properly makes you feel alive and it wakes you up. And what's the first thing you do when you have a cold shower is you take a big deep breath, so you go and that's your body really responding to it and fight or flight response to it. And so it's got that hormetic stress response again, where it's forcing your body to think that it's basically under pressure. It's, you know, it's out in the wild, it's basically on the edge of dying. The body has to adapt and get stronger to things like that. I try and have a cold shower as much as I can. I do most of the time, I time it with my sauna, so I'll have a hot sauna and then I'll jump in the cold shower because I find that it easier doing it that way. But definitely look into Wim Hof's methods, and if you can have a cold shower or a cold bath every day, then it'll be really beneficial to your overall health. At the start, just have a warm shower, and towards the end of the shower, just put it onto cold for like 15 seconds. And then the next day do 25-30 seconds, then the next day 45 seconds, then a minute. And eventually over time you'll build it up and you'll realise that you can just basically have a cold shower the whole time, and you don't even notice that it's not warm anymore. I don't really notice anymore, so I've got so used to it that to me it just feels like a shower. Definitely try and build yourself up, but cold showers is something that I definitely recommend for anyone suffering with MS. Another thing as well is that I try and consume all the different supplements that are potentially beneficial for people with MS. And so this includes high strength vitamin D. I take about 8,000 IU a day. Cod liver oil, I take a multivitamin. I take magnesium, I take a probiotic as well sometimes. Yeah, a couple of other supplements. Just do your research on what supplements you want to be taking, and then I definitely advise getting them into your routine straight away, especially vitamin D and cod liver oil, because there's literally so much evidence of the benefits of those two things with MS. And so those are two things that I get in straight away if I were newly diagnosed, or maybe you're just looking to add some supplements to what you're already doing. So there we have it. That's a brief overview of all the things that I'm doing in my every day-to-day life, every single day, to try and fight against MS. Now, I'll probably do a video as well at some point that's kind of like a day in the life of, so you can see me actually doing these things and you can see what I actually eat as part of the Best Bet diet, you know, what I do in the gym, etc., and all the other little bits in between that I've probably missed out in this video. Hopefully you found some of those things interesting and it's something that you want to research a bit further, because like I say, I'm not a doctor. This is just stuff that I've researched myself and that I've implemented into my daily routine. So I advise you do the same, look into it all and try and work out what you want to implement and what you don't. But what I would say is definitely try and implement at least something. Just start and try something and see if you feel better, because you're never going to improve by just repeating the same thing over and over. It's like what Albert Einstein said about insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you're feeling like you're stuck at a plateau and you're just not getting any better, then just try and change who you are. That's kind of what I did. I viewed it in my head as I had to kill off the old person that was me, because that person with those habits, the way that I was living my life, had caused this disease. That's how I had to view it. And so by making these changes, I was kind of becoming a new person and hoping that all the changes for the positive would stop this disease in its tracks, which it appears to have done a pretty good job of over the last year or so, because I haven't had any relapses and my disease was pretty active before that. I would definitely advise just try and do something. I definitely probably start at the diet, look at what you can change there, and then move on to some of the other areas as well. But hopefully this video has been beneficial. Please do let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, because I'd love to find out if there's anything that I'm missing out that I should be adding to my routine. Please do add it in there, because I'd love to find out more information like this. So once again, if you like the video, hit that like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
I used to like seeing you in town. Now